Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is most likely my first video and I'm excited. This is my first YouTube video. I just wanted to make a video about GameCube games and ranking them because I like GameCube and I like GameCube games and I want to talk about them. So that's what I'm going to do. I want to name my top 10 GameCube games with some honorable mention. Quick disclaimer, you guys can hate me all you want in the comments. It will include very popular games and a couple not so popular ones. This is a very nostalgia driven list and it is based off of a console that I basically grew up in, so it's going to be very skewed towards the games that I had when I was a kid. So with that being said, I'll start off with number 10. So number 10 is going to be Star Fox Assault. So we're already going off the bat with a quote-unquote controversial game. I wouldn't say it's very controversial. Some people really like this game, including myself. Some people hate it, mostly because they say that it's not a real Star Fox game because of the land traversal parts of the game, which at the time as a kid I really liked. So much so that I did it a lot in the multiplayer system, which was even cooler because you get to play as all the characters. Falco was one of my favorite ones, but Fox is also cool, and I also love the designs of everything, the R-wings, the landmasters. I mean, the characters themselves. Each of the levels were really cool. The music was really good too. Overall, a really solid game for me. I will admit, at least the past couple years that I've played it, most recently about a month ago, I played with a buddy of mine who hates the game, and he pointed out that with the land traversal, the way you actually traverse and shoot and everything is outdated. And it is very much so. But I am pretty confident if they remade a Star Fox game in the same vein that they made that one, I think it would be pretty popular, especially if they put modern shooting, FPS or third person shooting mechanics in there. I think that game would be pretty popular. All right, moving on to number 9. My number 9 is Soul Calibur 2. I like fighting games, but I'm not a big fighting game person. I'm not going to invest a bunch into fighting games, mostly because of the replayability aspect. You either really like to play the game and like to play it against people or computers, or you don't. This one was one of the games that I do, and I've played 3 Soul Calibur games in total. I think this one, 4, and 6. 6 was actually pretty close to this one in terms of feel, but it didn't have, I don't know what it was, the je ne sais quoi, I don't know. Soul Calibur 2 had a pretty cool arcade system and a story mode, which I liked a lot, and I played a lot of it, and I beat multiple times. The arcade was cool because you get multiple endings, which would reveal quote-unquote lore of each character and their quote-unquote antagonist or whatever, and I thought that was a pretty cool addition, and as a kid I ate that shit up. Overall, a fun game. Link in the GameCube one is awesome. My main was Keelik, and to be honest, I also think the way that they balanced the game, not to say it's the most balanced game of all time, it isn't, but I do like the way that each character is fun to play, in a sense. I personally don't think I would not choose a character. I think maybe the only person I wouldn't really choose is Astaroth, but even then I don't know, I think he plays pretty okay. My number 8 in this list is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I'm a big fan of Legend of Zelda. It's probably my favorite gaming franchise of all time. And I'm actually a big fan of this game. I really do like it a lot. It is kind of low on the list compared to other Legend of Zelda fans. But that's only because I feel like I didn't replay it as much as I did a lot of other Legend of Zelda games. And I may make a list about Legend of Zelda too. But yeah, no, it's a solid game. The story is awesome. I think the aesthetic is really cool, especially for the time. I think even then, as a fan, I think by that point I had played most of the 3D Legend of Zeldas up to that point, which were Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and then some of the Game Boy games. So I was wanting something more like Ocarina of Time. Like I wanted like a sequel to that, essentially, or like a more realistic, graphics driven one, and it delivered for sure. Like I said, the aesthetic choices were really, really good. I love that design of Link, really awesome. Being a dog is also cool, or a wolf. But yeah, the only reason why it's so low on the list is because I've only really played it through about 3 times. Next on the list at number 7 is Need for Speed Underground 2. Need for Speed Underground 2 is like, I think it might even be top 5 like most played games I've ever played. I've replayed the crap out of that game. It's definitely dated at this point, like the overworld, for example, the progression system, but I still think it's really, really fun to like get a car and like soup it up, and the races are really fun. That's another thing. I do wish they had like more level variation of the races, because I think that would be a really, really, really big bump up to like get this game to be even better than it already is. But the way as it is, I mean, it holds up really well. The graphics hold up really, really well. Like even without any texture mods, if you up-res it to 4K, it looks incredible. Most racing games already look really good, but it's just something to think back that a 20-year-old game looks as good as it does now. The races were really fun. I think the soundtrack is awesome. I mean, I play that game so much that I can literally tell the sequence of what song comes after next. And, might be unhealthy, but I don't know. I said the progression system's a little outdated, but it is one of the strong suits of the game, in the sense that, like, the more that you race, the more you can unlock for your car. And I think that aspect of it still is really good. The only thing that I would update if I were remaking the game or whatever would be just to add more stuff, and that's pretty much it. Not in my top 5, but a really, really solid entry into the GameCube library. I love that game. Moving on to number 6. So my number 6 game is Super Mario Strikers. That gameplay in that game is unmatched for me. I feel like I that was the thing that held that game together, because if you really think about it, it didn't have a lot of meat on the bones in terms of like content. I think it had maybe 9 characters that you could use as like a base character, and then like 4 teammate like characters. So not a lot of characters. You only get 1 unlockable character, and then the only real thing that you unlock are the levels. I think that's it. But the gameplay was so solid, it just kept me going. And I remember when the Switch version of this game came out, and I was so disappointed. And I think it was just because it was the feel of the game didn't feel as good. It didn't feel as good to go through like and make the goals. The passing wasn't as good. A lot about it wasn't as good. It was just, boring. My cat's here. Wants to say hi. Say hi? No? Okay. Strikers is the shit. I mean, it's my favorite soccer game of all time. Playing as Mario characters and blowing the crap out of each other while playing is super fun. My brother and I would like play these games, for hours. We would get good enough to the point that we can like score above 20 points a game, like each person. And I don't know, I haven't really watched many like pro Strikers players, if there are any, but I'm sure that people that get really good at that game probably are similar. But I thought it was cool that I can just score a shit ton of goals on my brother and vice versa. And the matches were so chaotic, like there would be bombs and blowing up every second. Bowser would come and kick the shit out of you. It's just a really fun game. Yeah, that's why, would be in my top 5 if it had a lot more content. I think if it was like a fully fledged out story mode or whatever, I think that would definitely take the cake. For my top 5, I'm going to round out my top 5 with Mario Kart Double Dash. Mario Kart Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart. And Mario Kart 8 is a very close second, like a really, really close second. I think the only reason is just like, I don't know, there's just something about the Double Dash like vibe that is just wacky, zany. I also think the driving is a lot more, difficult to manage. And I think it's, the level of difficulty, at least for the computers, is, I would say, significantly more difficult. And I think that it's not like a BS difficulty. I think it's like a very measured difficulty. So much so that, if you go back to the games, like, you're not going to be guaranteed a gold in the Grand Prix. I replayed it recently, and it's just, it's a blast. Also, every track is a banger. Every course is really, really solid to play through. Really, really fun to listen to because the music is really good. The music is only beat by Mario Kart 8. The dual item mechanic is also really, really cool. I think the only time I think they reintroduced that only by Mario Kart 7. I might be wrong. I'm gonna check, but the fact that it was the first time that it was introduced, and it was because it was 2 characters and each character has their own special item. I think it was just a really revolutionary game at the time, and it holds up really well, like most of the other games on this list. It was just a lot of fun. My number 4 game on this list is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Ironically enough, my favorite Legend of Zelda game isn't on this list, even though it was on the GameCube, which is the Ocarina of Time. But the only reason it's not on this list is because I never really owned it and or played it in the GameCube version. I always played the 64 version or the 3DS version. The Wind Waker is a really, really fun entry. It's definitely in my top 5 Legend of Zeldas. Don't know where in my top 5. I gotta, give it more thought. But it is really, really good looking game. The music is my favorite in the franchise. I really enjoy the fighting and the boss fights and the dungeons and really everything about the game. I, surprisingly enough, don't love the sailing part of the game. It's cool, but it's not my favorite thing in the world. Even like the looking for the Triforce parts, it's still fun, but it's not like other people put it as their highlight. It's not my highlight of the game. In fact, I've beaten the game less than I did Twilight Princess, but I've definitely played through the game more than Twilight Princess, if that makes sense. Like, I've probably beaten the game I think I only beat the game all the way through twice. But I've played through from the beginning up to a certain point, usually from when you start to do the ghost ship part. I only, play up to there. Maybe I've done it maybe a dozen times after that. Because I know how it ends and whatever. Maybe I'll do a playthrough where I can go all the way through the end again. And I do think I have my GameCube version of it has a save file where I am looking for the ghost ship, but I've been playing a lot more recently on Dolphin. So I don't know. I'll probably go back. One of my favorite Legend of Zeldas, though, a really fun time. I've probably, if I would really accumulate all the hours, I'd probably put over 200 hours into the game. Maybe more. Really, really fun. My number 4. My number 3, actually, a lot of people say that its sequel is much better, which is SSX Tricky. Now, I've played the shit out of SSX Tricky, probably more than any other GameCube game on this list. Actually, that's not true. My number 1 takes the cake for it. But SSX Tricky is really close. SSX Tricky, I've beaten the game multiple times, like more times than I can even count, with each character multiple times. Unlocking all of their skins, unlocking all of their snowboards. I don't know, there's just something about the gameplay loop and the music and everything that just brings me back. Like, I literally played it last week all the way through as Eddie. And it's a very digestible game too. Like, yeah, it does sound like a lot when I'm saying each character, and it does take a lot of time to do all of the characters in sequence and like get all of the golds with them. But with one character, you can probably go through the game in I would say a matter of hours, maybe like less than 3.5 hours maybe. And it's fun, and you can go through it. It's the progression is very rewarding. Usually with each gold you get something, either an outfit or a snowboard, and then you also get to improve the abilities of your player each time that you get better. So the more that you play, the more that you can do with the character itself, and I think that's really, really cool. People say SSX3 is the better game. They might be right. To be honest, I didn't really play much of it. My cousin had it once, but I have been meaning to go through SSX3 because I think it's really cool. But SSX Tricky just gets my heart. I mean, everything about it is just so much fun. All right, on to my number 2. My second favorite GameCube game is the Luigi's Mansion. And Luigi's Mansion is interesting to me because I feel like there is quite literally no other game like it. And even the games in the Luigi's Mansion franchise does not feel like Luigi's Mansion, or the original one. My brother, I remember this is probably the only, on top of the fact that the GameCube was the only game that I purchased, and by I mean my parents, and by also I mean it was for my brother because I was too young at the time, but it was the only game that I got where I got the game system and the game at launch, on launch day, and we waited in line. I remember because I waited with my dad and my brother. And the only other console I've ever done that for was the Switch with Breath of the Wild. But Luigi's Mansion, I remember, it was funny because I remember also that when I was a kid, I was scared of the baby. I was like maybe 5 years old at the time. So, I would always watch my brother and play, but I wasn't really doing anything particularly well. But when I got old enough to actually play through the game, I mean, it's just an amazing aesthetic. The animations are incredible. Like Luigi's facial expressions look awesome. His character animations, his character model, I think looks like the coolest in my opinion. Yeah, it's not as different as it was as it is now, but there's just something a little bit more buoyant, bouncy about his character model, and you can see all of the expressions even back in 2001, and it was just a very good showcase of what the GameCube can do. And it was also kind of cool for me because having an older brother, being the younger brother, you kind of you grow up seeing the older brother as the protagonist that you want to be. So it was kind of cool to see Luigi take on his own version of being the protagonist, and I saw myself in him, playing the game, the playthrough. Yeah, I really, really, really love that game. I play it every year in October for Halloween, and even outside of Halloween, I play it every now and again. It's just a really fun game to play through. The ghost designs are really, really cool. The mansion, layout is awesome. The little, tricks that you get to explore through, the mirror teleportation thing that you figure out by just taking a picture of it, or when you go into the well outside in the backyard of the mansion, and you go down and you can see where Mario's painting is holed up, and it's a gold room, and he's banging on the painting, wanting to be let out. And I always thought that was so cool and grim. I compare it to the other Luigi's Mansion games because I said earlier that they're not really similar. And yeah, the gameplay mechanics are similar. You're capturing ghosts with the vacuum, and it's an arcade-like system. I guess in a sense that the stakes were never felt the same. The first time you go there and you're screaming Mario by pressing A, he's looking for him, he's looking for his brother, and then you see him in the painting. And then I remember even as a kid seeing him for the first time, I was like, oh crap, I gotta get him. I can't let Mario just be in this haunted mansion, So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I can go on for hours about Luigi's Mansion and how cool it is. The only reason it's not my number one game is because it's so short, and that's pretty much it, honestly. That it was just so short. There's no multiplayer system for it. I wish there was a little bit more content, but I'm not upset. In hindsight, looking back as a game, I wouldn't really even change it. It's just the only reason why I wouldn't give it my number one. Before we get to the number one spot, I do want to give some honorable mentions. These are games that I think any of them could have been interchanged with the number 10 spot. But to me, they just either came later to me in life, or, I didn't play as much of. but I think they're as good as the number 10 spot. And I'm actually going to start with the Resident Evil original remake. That game looks incredible. I mean, I think that's another game that with HD texture mods and stuff you could put it side by side with like a PS4 game, and you couldn't even tell. Like it looks really, really good. And it's just a fun game. Also kind of short, but I think it was really, really cool what they were able to do at the time. And also, you know, if you think about like the difference in time from the original game to that, I think it was maybe 6 years. I don't know. I got to look that up. But the fact that they made such a technical leap, you know, visually speaking, at least from the first to the second game, where like the two games feel like different games and look so drastically different, is so cool. Like to think about in hindsight. I'll say this too. This is the only Resident Evil game that I have on this list. The only reason why I don't have Resident Evil 4, which is everybody's favorite Resident Evil game, including mine, is that I didn't play it on the GameCube. This one was the only one that I did play on the GameCube, and I started it on the GameCube. This is my first Resident Evil game in general. I didn't play Resident Evil 4 until it got onto the PlayStation 4. And then I played it through a bunch of times, and then I'm playing through the remake. Yeah, I don't know. This is just a really good This is just a really good game, and it's my second favorite Resident Evil game, and it's just really good. All right, the next one in the honorable mentions is Super Monkey Ball 2. Not much that I have to say about it other than it's fun. It's a monkey and a ball. That's awesome. Great game. Played it a bunch of times. Same for the original Super Monkey Ball. And I think arcade is the other one. All games really solid, very fun. Bananas, monkeys, balls, awesome. The next one on the honorable mentions list is Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis is my favorite tennis game in general. I think it's really fun. The characters have cool little special shots. It's a tennis game, and with Mario characters, and it's fun, it's wacky, it's cool. NBA Street 1. People say NBA Street Volume 3 is the best one, and I would agree. But again, this is my personal list, and nostalgia is a big factor. I had this game, and I played it a lot with my brother. And really the only reason why I carry it, or I think about it more fondly than Volume 3, is because I didn't really play Volume 3 until I was a little bit older, probably like as a teenager. I was able to get like a buddy of mine gave me his version of Volume 3 because I asked him about it. He didn't really play it anymore. Next on the honorable mentions list is Spider-Man OG, the Activision first Spider-Man title game. People say Spider-Man 2 is the best one. Again, I would agree. I didn't own it ever. I've only played it through emulation, and I beat it through emulation. But I have Spider-Man still actually as a physical disc, and I've played the crap out of that game up and down. You can play as Green Goblin, which was really cool, and like fly around as him. You can play as Spider-Man. And Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, and it was my first Spider-Man game that I played, and I think it's really fun. I have two more. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, I had it. I played it a lot. My brother played it a lot more than I did. We would play a lot together, but we played it so much that the disc just got really, really screwed up. And it got so screwed up that we couldn't play it anymore. So there was a big period of time where we were just not able to play it. And I played a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, which is my favorite Tony Hawk. I love Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but I played the first one a lot more than I did Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. And then this would actually probably, if I were to make this list without the nostalgia factor, Mario Golf would take the place of Star Fox Assault. Mario Golf is my last honorable mention. It's my favorite golf game. I love golf games. I think they're really fun. The only reason why it's in the honorable mentions and not in my top 10 is because I didn't have it. I mean, I had it as a kid, kind of. I had rented it a bunch of times through Blockbuster, but I never played through it. And I also, when I was a kid and I rented it all the time, I didn't understand the mechanics, so I would just hit the ball, and I was like, oh, this is cool, and I would just do it for hours, but not really knowing what I was doing. Like, I knew I had to hit it in the hole, but I didn't understand, like, birdie and, like, what was good, what was bad, until I got, a little bit older, and I play Mario Golf to this day. I beat it a bunch of times. I played it more as an adult than I did as a kid, and it's my favorite golf game. And probably, shoot, I mean, if I'm talking about playtime as an adult, it's probably going to be in my top 5 played games, which is kind of crazy to think. All right, down to my number 1. My number 1 GameCube game, favorite GameCube game, is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Melee is the game that I've probably played the most, maybe ever. I played it so much as a kid. I'm not, I'll say this now, I am not, nor will I ever be a good competitive Melee player. I played it, you know, if it wasn't for the remake, or not remakes, if it wasn't for the sequels, I'd probably play it more than I do today, but it was the most played Smash Brothers game until Smash 4 came out, which is actually my favorite Smash 4 or Smash game, even though it's a popular opinion. In fact, I would probably put Smash 4 only slightly above Melee, and then Ultimate, and then 64 Smash, and then Brawl. Subspace Emissary is cool. Not saying it's a bad game. I just don't like the way that it feels. Very floaty. But yeah, back to Melee. Melee, I played through a lot as like by myself. Like I'll just play through the adventure and the classic modes with every character, and I'll try to get all of the little like trophies. You know, obviously I unlocked all the characters and the levels. Yeah, I played so much of it. I remember one time when I was a kid, my memory card had wiped, and it had all my files for Melee, Need for Speed Underground, SSX, like all, you know, I had like several tricked out cars in Need for Speed, all of my characters with like their uniforms and snowboards unlocked in SSX, all of my story mode played through all the way through with Soul Calibur 2. I mean everything, and it all wiped, and I cried all night that night. And I was so mad that I went several months without playing. I played a crap ton of my Nintendo 64. I probably beat most of the games that I had never beaten up to that point during that 6-month span, because I just never played my GameCube. Yeah, that's my top 10. Smash is to me the best GameCube game. Anyway, if you like this video, subscribe. I'll probably be making some more content like this, maybe some other stuff, who knows. This is just a fun little video I wanted to put out there. If you agree with my opinions, or if you hate my opinions, comment what you think your favorite GameCube game is. Let me know what you think about my list. A couple things I will say. Yes, I omitted one big game, and I'll point that out now. Sunshine. I haven't beaten Sunshine all the way through. I know. Crucify me. I don't know what it is. I've played literally every mainline Mario game, every 3DS, you know, the 2D versions. Sunshine I just never beat. I don't know why. I remember when I was a kid I played it and I didn't like it because I liked 64 a lot and I wanted it to be like 64. And in many ways it wasn't. But I do think it is the most innovative Super Mario game. And I don't know. I do have to sit down and play through it. I'm sure I would love it. I've tried multiple times, but I know that this next time will be my time. I just gotta, you know, thug it out. I just gotta do it. Anyway, if you like this video, like and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Have a good one.